patient, young one. Let me form a face so that we can look upon each other properly. We can talk now, and I can see you better. When you approached my grove, I thought to myself, what a bumbling elf. Why does it walk so slowly? I believed you to be sick or injured. I believed you came here seeking healing, like so many before you. But now, my eyes tell me you are no elf. Your form is that of a human, but you seem to be somewhat at war with yourself. Is that why you are here? Because you do not like your form? You wish to change it, to transform. The solution is quite simple. A human life is short. Live out the rest of your natural lifetime, return to the soil, and be reborn in a different form. There is no need to take action. It will happen on its own. All it takes is time. You do not agree. I thought as much. If you did, you would not be here, You wish to alter your present form, so you can bond with the forest and live here as someone who truly belongs. You wish to be rooted to this place, but to change in such a way is not as simple as adding the parts that you lack. Something must also be left behind. There is always a sacrifice to be made. Once you set foot on this path, you cannot turn back. But I see that you have already walked it for some time. In a sense, we are similar. I am the tree, and I am in the tree. But I started out in a different form, similar to yours. I have changed into something less changeable. You are not the first to ask this of me. 3 others of your kind have done so, in years long past. When they were presented with my conditions, they turned away and left, unchanged. They were not willing to surrender their old lives, to cut all ties, all loyalties, to leave all their grudges behind. Perhaps you are. I can do what you ask of me. I can reshape your ears and the rest of your form, make you resemble the people you have chosen. Your senses will be sharpened. Your lifetime will be lengthened. You will be bound to this land for better and worse. A new part added to the forest, rooted to it almost as firmly as I am. it will be difficult for you to leave it after that, to live anywhere else. There are elves that live in human lands for some portion of their lifetimes, but they will never bond with that land, and when death approaches, if not sooner, they will return to the endless forest. You certainly appear dauntless. The overconfidence of the young will be tempered with age and experience, and regret, perhaps. You do not truly know the implications of your choice until you have lived it, but I will try to explain nonetheless. What is the difference between elf and man? Elves seem ageless, but their bodies are not. Their bodies changes as the years go by, albeit slower than human bodies. But they will wither and die eventually, like everything else in the forest. So that is not what separates you. Aging is something you have in common. Wrinkles come, the body slows and tires. But there is something timeless within you, elf and man alike, and you express it in different ways. When you appear ageless like an elf, or younger than your years, that is not simply a matter of outward appearance. It means that you have held on to something that the world often requires you to suppress. Your essence, your spirit, your true self, a connection to the part of ourselves that is timeless, unchanging, and eternal. Age is not marked by the passing of time alone, but by the weight of the burdens we carry, by regrets and worries, by the accumulation of grievances. Each resentment adds a crease to the spirit long before it appears on the face, and each fear clouds your eyes a little bit more to the beauty around you. You were taught to please, to accommodate, to shrink yourself to the comfort of others. Expectation and approval, a road well paved and well lit. What made you stop in the middle of that path? You were praised for your obedience, for fitting in, for sacrificing your own desires in service of the others. This is not necessarily wrong. These acts can be noble and worthwhile if the people around you are good and true and worth fighting for. If your sacrifice and self-denial are temporary and not all-consuming and lifelong. But if it is not so, you will eventually resist or be broken down. You resisted. One day, you stood still and listened, and not to the world around you, but to the quiet beating of your own heart. And in that stillness, you asked yourself, who am I? Not any role or duty defined by others, but the parts of yourself that had been silenced by the noise of the world. And you came to realize that you did not know yourself. You did not know who you really were beneath the expectations, conditioning, and roles you were given. Over time, you learned to suppress your needs, to ignore your instincts and wear masks that please others. You became so accustomed to wearing the mask you were given that you forgot there was ever a face beneath it. But your essence can never be denied completely. It starts with a sense of discontent, a feeling that something is missing. As time passed, this feeling grew. It grew until you could not ignore it any longer. Your true self is something that unfolds when outside demands falls away, something that is always there within you, but in many it is dormant and unused, unwanted by society. To choose oneself is to peel away these layers of conditioning and face the raw truth of your own being. Confronting the parts of ourselves that we have been taught to hide or suppress or deny. The choice is not for the faint of heart, because it challenges the narratives that we have built our lives around. Breaking out of this life is an act of courage. Where you come from, I suspect this is almost impossible. In the forest, it happens naturally. All expectations fade away. Its demands are different, and a mask will not serve you there. You return to your essence amongst the trees, without all the layers that civilization adds. When you wander amongst the trees, you have to watch where you step. You have to catch your dinner, find your way, look for a good place to set up camp. The concerns of the forest are immediate, grounded in the here and now. And at the same time, the forest is ancient and eternal. This is the great paradox. In such a place, you can feel yourself. Not your next appointment, your next chore. You can simply exist in the present moment. And therefore, you can come to understand that who you truly are is an ageless being. You are the awareness that has watched your body grow and change since the day you were born. This spirit, the real you, has never aged a single moment. And through it, you are connected to something infinite, something unbound by the passage of time. The forest strengthens your connection to it and reminds you to live lightly, to carry fewer burdens and to rest in the eternal now. It is through constant change, the cycle of the seasons, the life and death of countless individuals, that the forest can remain the same, unchanged, and live on eternally. It requires that everything within it eventually dies and returns to the soil. And from the soil, new life is born, again and again and again, everlasting, eternal, and permanent change. Life starts and ends in the same way, in the soil, in the land. For you to eat, another living creature must die, be it plant or animal. We nourish each other, and you must accept your place in this eternal cycle. Your life will belong to the forest, and so will your death. Surrender yourself to it, be part of it, and dissolve into the forest in the end. And your eternal essence will emerge from it again. This is the sacrifice I spoke of. To become an elf, you have to bind yourself to this land for eternity. Your essence will belong to the forest. You can leave, yes, for a time, but the forest will always call you home. So far, you have been a visitor to our lands, and the things you have seen here have enticed you to stay, and are more appealing to you than what you left behind. You must now confront your own paradox of permanent change. If you enter into my embrace, the door to your past will close. The people you left behind would no longer recognize you should you try to return to human lands. And their world, their cities, would feel unfamiliar, uncomfortable perhaps. If you were to return and spend an extended period of time there, you would feel the pull of the forest, a need, a lack, permeating your every waking moment. You would be compelled to return. Is this a sacrifice you are willing to make? This cannot be undone. You choose to transform, to change into freedom and bondage. Come closer, then. You will go through me, and you will shed your old body, be reborn through soil and root. And then you will be of the forest. But you must give yourself over to me completely. Come into my embrace. A seed cannot grow unless it surrenders itself to the soil.